To get your thoughts on Billboard just put out their top 50 rappers, and I know it's totally Billboard.
I don't fuck with Billboard or the editor.
I know it's totally subjective, but they put you at 18. How does that sit with you? Is that good or bad, or what do you think about that?
Billboard ain't hip hop, so their opinion don't matter.
Right.
So who gives a fuck?
I mean, I agree with that. Everyone from Mount Westmore made it except for Too Short, man. Is that a bit of a snub to leave him off the list, man, when he's such a legend?
Yeah, it is. You know what I mean? It's an irrelevant list. You know what I mean? It's like assholes. You know what I mean? Everybody got one and they all stink. So there it is.
You pay attention to any of these lists ever, or everyone is just like next?
No. I got my own list.
Yeah. You're number one of that list?
Of course.
And did. Ice Cube is all of us. Yes, I made my own damn list. There you go. So what is going on, y'all? I am back, as promised, with part 2 of my top 50 MCs of all time. I hope everyone is doing well. And today is the conclusion of my list, and we are counting down MCs 25 to number 1. And again, this is just my opinion. That's it. So, not to toot my own horn, but I feel that I actually did better than the quote-unquote professionals over there at Vibe and Billboard, and I'm just serious with that. So, anyway, let's see. So, after I reveal the top 25, I will also give my 20 honorable mentions. And as I mentioned in last week's show, if you want to go more in depth into why I placed the MCs where I did, just let me know. And we can even possibly do a YouTube live or something like that, or I can do a post or do another show. If we do YouTube live, I can actually have people come on and discuss, debate, whatever you want to do. So, I mean, with this top 25, this was the part I had the hardest with, of course. I wanted to make sure that I pretty much already had the top 25, who I wanted and where I wanted to put them and all of that fun stuff. It was hard trying to figure out where to put who or who to put where. There we go. Who to put where. I wavered back and forth between number 1 and number 2. It was just a lot. So let me quit rambling, because I can go on and on about how I did all this, and maybe I can get into that later, how I came to the conclusion and all that other stuff. Like I said, I talked about that a little while ago. But anyway, here they are. So without further ado, here we go. Again, these are my top 25 MCs of all time. 25, Guru. 24, MC Light. 23, Busta Rhymes. 22, Styles P. 21, Pusha T. 20, Drez. 19, DMX. 18, Snoop Dogg. 17, The Notorious B.I.G. 16, Pharoah Monch. 15, CL Smooth. 14, Jizza. 13, Redman. 12, Eminem. 11, Inspector Deck. 10, Big Daddy Kane. 9, LL Cool J. 8, Nas. 7, Tupac. 6, Jadakiss. 5, Ice Cube. 4, Black Thought. 3, KRS-One. 2, Jay-Z. And number 1, the greatest of all time, in my opinion, and others, Rakim. So there you have it. My top 50 MCs of all time. Of course, 50 through 26 was on episode 6. Of course, I just revealed 25 through number 1. So, in my opinion, Rakim took the top billing. I'll probably get some heat for that, especially from a lot of people, not only just some of the newer heads, but a lot of the older heads, because Jay-Z's great. He is truly my favorite MC. I looked at the overall of who influenced who. I think Rakim is the best MC and lyricist that ever lived. I mean, truthfully, I do. I can go more in depth on that later on, but let's move on to the honorable mentions. So, the honorable mentions weren't easy either. I was seriously struggling. And honestly, I could have kept going on with this list. That's why it ended up being 20, because at first I just had 10, then it went to 15. And I was like, this is just too much. So I did it at 20. I did not put them in any particular order like I did with the top 50 list. Basically, most of these MCs that are on this list actually had spots originally in the top 50 list, but I just couldn't justify them being better than the people who I put on the top 50 MCs list, if you get what I'm saying. This isn't any disrespect, nothing like that, of course. These MCs could have easily been on the top 50 list, that's what I'm saying. And, there's no particular order. So 20 through number 1, it doesn't mean that who I have as number 1, because I'm just going to do them 1 through 20. I'm not doing 20 through 1 because that would be a countdown. Anyway, let's go on and get into the honorable mentions. Smooth B of Nice and Smooth, Ja Rule, Eve, Gucci Mane, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Busy Bone, Big Pun, Da Brat, Cannabis, Cameron, AZ, Tretch, Mos Def, Big L, Corrupt, Cool G Rap, Bun B, Lupe Fiasco, and Royce the 5'9". Those are my top 20 honorable mentions. That's how I'll just say that. Those are my honorable mentions right there. Okay, so let's talk briefly about what's coming up next. There are a lot of different things that I want to do. First, let me start out with my YouTube page. My YouTube page is going to eventually be my main source of communication, where everything's going to go down. I want to do lives where I can have people on there with me. I want to do more product reviews, certain shows that I watch. I really don't watch too much reality TV. I probably only watch like about 1 or 2 shows, and that's not the type of reviews I'm talking about. If I come across a good documentary or a good series, just something that I find entertaining and interesting, then I will share that. I'll be doing DJ mixes on there. That's what I'm talking about, mashups. I will be working on those. I do have some that I found on an old flash drive that I saved from years ago, which I was surprised I still had it. I was surprised it still worked. But I'm going to listen to those just to make sure that no copyright strikes or anything will come through, because they got me on the Boys in the Hood clip, y'all. And that was my most watched video on my page. That's where I was getting my hours. You got to have a certain amount of subscribers and a certain amount of watch hours to be able to get monetization on YouTube. But I'm working on some things. I have a couple other series that I'm working on. I have some other nostalgic things. I want to do like some mini documentaries on people and just different stuff. I have a lot of ideas that I have been working on. See, the thing is, like, I work from home. My work office is the same as my home office. So it's also where I'm right now, where I'm recording this, where I'll be recording my YouTube videos, where I do my writing, everything. Everything goes down in here. I call it my cave because I come in here and I hibernate all day long. This is where I am. If I'm not out somewhere, I'm right here until it's time for me to go to bed. And there have been times where I just reclined this chair, took a quick nap late at night, woke up and did some more work. There are a lot of things happening behind the scenes, but subscribe to my YouTube page, DannieBSpeaks, and more will be coming to that. As for my website, I was playing around with the idea of shutting it down. I decided against it for many reasons. It just makes sense to keep it, even though I don't consider myself a blogger anymore. Basically, things that I would talk about in a post, I now talk about on the podcast that I do, or I talk about it, or plan on talking about it, I should say, on my YouTube page. So there are a lot of different outlets that I have where I don't have to write certain things, but I still write. And there are stories that I have been working on, like short stories and things. There are a couple, I guess you could say, blog posts that I am working on, but I don't consider myself a full-time blogger like I did at first, where that was all that I did. I want to get more into the visual and audio aspect, because I think that, because myself included, like, as much as I love to read, I still would prefer to listen or watch something. And most people are, especially in this day and age. You can put things on for background noise. when you're cleaning, when you're working, just various different things. So that's where I want to eventually move everything to. Now, the podcast. I've been getting back into the swing of things. I feel like I'm getting back into the swing of things, I should say. I still have trouble with my voice every now and then. As you can tell, the more I talk, the more hoarse I become. But that's just I'm going to be like that for probably the rest of my life. So it is what it is. I'm trying to work on the routine. And for the past couple weeks, I've been closing in on that routine when I work on scripts, when I decide what I want to do. And I have a lot of true crime and true crime takes the longest. That's why I was saying that there may not be an episode every week for that, because it takes a lot, because it's true crime. It's something that really happened. I want to get as much accurate information and verify as many sources, reliable sources, as I can. Watch as many documentaries on it. And that's kind of hard to do when you work full time and you're trying to do other things, trying to do all that within a week. But I'm going to make it work some kind of way. So if there's not a true crime podcast one week, then we'll be back the next week for sure. That's just because it took a lot of time. So that's the true crime podcast. That's still going to be going strong. Girl, you know what? Of course, that podcast is still going to be going as long as Keisha wants to do it. And I'm not putting it on her. I'm just saying, like, as long as she wants to do it, I'm there because I love doing this. On that podcast, that's where I talk about more current events. This podcast, the Dannie B Speaks, the podcast, is going to be mainly just like things that are more personal, just things that I want to talk about on my own unless I have somebody else on the show with me. But girl, you know what? That's a conversation piece right there. That's just where we have conversation and we just talk about any and everything on there as well. It's been so fun doing a collaboration, especially with somebody who you have a good relationship with and who you're really comfortable with just talking. And I mean, we talk on the phone. So that's just basically what that show is. And, you know, we said that from the beginning. We want you all to feel like when you listen to that podcast, when you listen to Girl, You Know What, we want you to feel like you're on three-way with us and we're just having a conversation. That's it and that's all. Some may be too deep for people. Some people may not like our opinions on things. That's life. We're cool. As for this podcast, I'm looking right now at about 7 different topics that I have and want to talk about. I truly do not plan on taking any more time off unless it's just like a week or two when I just need a break. Those long, like almost a year, that was ridiculous. I mean, it was a lot going on. And I'll get into all that. I am going to do, and it may be next week. Maybe next week I'll do a show as to why I was gone for so long doing this podcast. Not doing this podcast, I should say. But so I have plenty to do. I have a lot going on, but I also have a life. You know, I mean, I also want to get out and do things. And, you know, like I like to travel. I like to hang out with my nieces and nephews. So there are a lot of things that are going on. I want this to continue being a success. And I'm surprised that I still get a lot of listens for being gone for so long. And I would love to do more collaborations. If you didn't know about a little over a month ago, I did a podcast on the John Effect. I was a guest on the John Effect podcast. Make sure you check him out. And yeah. Well, we're just going to be growing this brand. That's it. I have a lot of ideas and I just need to talk to some people, see where they want to go with it, if they want to do some things to where we all can just eat. You know what I'm saying? So that's it and that's all for that. That's what's coming up. YouTube page, getting that built up. Website, there may be some changes coming, but I decided to keep it for now. Podcasts are going to be going, hopefully on a weekly basis. This one, most definitely, I'm going to try my hardest to do this one weekly, but the true crime one, right now I'm going to try to do it weekly, but if not, it will be every other week for sure. There will be no long hiatus again between shows. Thank you all for tuning in to this week's show. Don't forget to check out my other podcast, True Crime with Dannie B Speaks and Girl, You Know What. You can listen to all 3 of my podcasts on pretty much all major platforms where you can listen to podcasts. You can also check out the podcast on my website, which is DannieBSpeaks.com, and on my YouTube page, which I would truly appreciate if you would subscribe to. And my YouTube page is Dannie B Speaks. There will be more content coming to that page real soon. I promise y'all it's coming. Just working on some things behind the scenes. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Dannie B Speaks. Also follow me on Apple Music where I share some of my playlists that I create myself. And on Apple Music, I'm under Tahir Ali. If you need to reach out to me for any business inquiries such as promotions, products, for me to endorse anything of yours on my podcast, on my website, my social media platforms, if you want to discuss collaborating with me, doing product reviews, or even sponsoring me, please hit me up at DannieBSpeaks at gmail.com. Again, I truly appreciate you all. Be sure to continue to support or start supporting the Dannie B Speaks brand. So until next time, take care of yourselves and each other, and I will catch you all on the next one. Peace, y'all.